afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand. Welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Tuesday, July 23, 2024, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow night, Wednesday night, Wednesday the 24th, we're having a Time for Change call. I suggest you might want to take some notes. We have the opportunity to shift, and see, that's only, each one of us can do that for ourselves. There's no, magical outside power that's going to do it for us. It's us initiating and doing it for ourselves. And that's shifting your energies and direction to the positivity aspect of this life and not the negativity, because the reason that everything on this planet, anything you can think of, anything you see, hear, watch, where does it come from? It comes from us. It's what we're focused on. Whatever we focus on, we create. And I believe that the majority are unconscious about that. It doesn't register. So we continue to create that which we do not care to have. Which is, you see all these, it's like a 30-ring circus going on all the time on this planet. And it can get confusing for a lot of people because you look here, you look there, and see this, you see that, and you see this, you see that. And then you go and you look at other people and why people are the way they are and why they do this, why they do that. And when we take the responsibility, and we're gentle, kind, generous, and humble with ourselves at all times, in deep gratitude, we take the responsibility and understand that in order for things to shift, period, there's only one thing that needs to occur. The civilization's attitude. That's it. There's nothing else. And the attitude, since we are all pure consciousness, gods within these bodies, and the majority of us haven't made that connection yet, and we know that by focusing through the heart-mind on things that we do desire or want, it works. Ego mind, it doesn't work. That's why so many people get frustrated and disappointed and irritated and negative. And it's simple, is it? Is it really simple? That we say to ourselves, okay, so now I'm going to be positive. I'm going to be in the positivity world and not the negativity. And as I've said over and over again, where there's good, there's bad, and where there's bad, there's good. Where there's light, there's dark, and where there's dark, there's light. So when we look at this show, movie, whatever you want to call it, we know that we can direct our attention in areas that we want, okay? So it could be, we want a healthy, clean, happy planet with no pollution. We want happy, healthy, prosperous lives. We don't care to be sick, ill, all that stuff. And you focus on one thing at a time. And see, we move ourselves out of the habit of negativity into the habit of positivity. We know negative exists. I mean, it's just in our first rodeo, we've all been many lifetimes in negativity and things and attracted things and not knowing why. So it's a switch that goes off. Now, it doesn't, if it's ego mind, then you're out there telling people, see what I mean? You're out there professing and telling, and that's ego mind. Heart mind, you have no motivation to do that. This is for you. It's for you. And however you treat yourself is how you're going to treat others, period. No ifs, ands, buts about it. So if you don't like yourself for some reasons, and you don't have any respect for yourself, and you don't have any respect for the civilization or the planet, guess what? You're going to continually attract things that are low frequency, low energy, combative, obstructive, so on and so forth. We stop ourselves every second from being prosperous, happy, healthy, wealthy, because we gravitate, we have a propensity to go to negative. Now, not necessarily overboard negative. You just mean that we're in the habit of it so long, lifetime after lifetime, that it's pretty much a knee-jerk reaction. We go there. We go into negativity. And, yeah, we all, none of us are exempt from negativity. We have little thoughts here and there that bring in negative stuff. But to be aware of that and to say, I don't really care to have that. I know that when I focus on that, I'm going to create more of it for myself in this life. So therefore, I'm going to focus over here, positivity. Whenever I see something that I would normally respond negatively to, I'm going to now look at it from a positive perspective. You'd be amazed what happens. Okay? When we're only looking for negativity, that's all we're going to see. Period. No matter what. Now, when we're in a flexible state in the heart-mind and we're watching things and say, well, okay, well, this can happen or that can happen, or what's going on with this. Have you ever kind of checked yourself from the standpoint that whenever you assume something, right, or we have the negative energies flood in and we're saying this to ourselves, and it doesn't materialize. It doesn't happen. We're wrong, in other words. We're off the target. We're assuming things, and yet when we assume them, they usually don't materialize. It doesn't come out that way. Well, I was assuming this would happen, but it didn't. Or you would think that this would have happened because of this, and it didn't. This is why I say float, don't swim. See, when we swim, we're fighting. We're fighting the life. Or in a tug-of-war with ourselves. When we float, we've surrendered everything. We've given it all to the universe. We really have. We just let it go. And we're just floating. It's like in the quiet time of these meditations, we just be. We're being. Well, that's a waste of time. No. Even being is a tremendous benefit to this civilization. Being means that you're at peace. You have no real aspiration. You're not dissatisfied. You're not ill-content. You are floating. And you know that everything that you desire is already yours, really. And all you've got to do is shift the direction of your frequencies from negativity to positivity. Whenever negativity comes up, you say to yourself, okay, so I understand there's negatives here. What are the positives? You can't do it with the ego mind because you're going to keep getting negatives. You're not going to see the positives. You're going to see the negatives. So if you go through the heart mind, you're going to see the positives and the negatives. And the negatives and the positives. Embrace both of them. And it's like, do you think that you believe that you could stay through your own direction, mostly in the now? Or do you believe that, yeah, maybe on occasion, but a lot of the times I find myself in yesterday and tomorrow? It's not a bad thing either way. It's just acknowledging that fact. Well, what keeps us there? It's like you say to yourself, okay, what's keeping me here? Why do I gravitate over to this? Well, it's because the ego mind's in control and it is over you, it masters you, so it guides you and directs you and pulls you into the directions it wants you to go. Why do you see now? How many people do you believe on this planet that are very insecure? Why is that when they're gods in the body and they're immortal beings? Supremely powerful. Why would they be insecure? Because the ego mind's insecure. You find someone's insecure, they live in the ego mind. It's a matter of fact. Do they know that? No, not necessarily. But when we focus on something, we're going to create it. That's been proven over and over and over again. We're going to create it. No matter what it is. Doesn't matter what it is. We're going to create it. How do you believe that World War I was contrived and World War II and Vietnam, Revolutionary War and the Civil War, all these different conflicts? How were they created? They were created by vibrational frequencies. They were created by the belief of the people, the fear, the unknowing, the worry, the stress, the anxiety, insecurity. Now imagine what would happen in the event that the majority of us knew all this through the heart mind. We knew it. We knew that whenever we focused on something, we would create it, and sometimes instantaneously. So what would we do with that? Yeah, we would probably create certain things, and then go, wow, I really didn't think that would happen. Or I did believe that would happen, and it did. So then we become much more aware of our thoughts, so that we say, no, I'm not going to energize that thought. I don't care to have that materialize. There's no reason for it to materialize. It's not a good thing at this time. You focus on through the heart mind. I say that a lot because, see, the ego mind's very tricky. You may think you're in the heart mind or believe you're in the heart mind, but in reality, you're in the ego mind and not the heart mind. How do you know if you're in the heart mind? You don't have any worry, stress, fear, anxiety. You're not asking all kinds of questions and everything. You're just kind of floating. You're at peace. You're content. You're not into want mode or have mode. You're just floating along. Ego mind is the opposite of that. Wanting and having and doing and rushing and going and doing some more and doing and doing and doing. And it's a never-ending battle because you ever talk to people that say, oh, I'm sure I'll come up with something else. And you know what? They do. Because they believe they will, so they manifest it in. There's a lot of things that all of us manifest into our lives. We don't even know we did it. We believe that, then we say, well, that's just happenstance, or that's, that was because of over here or this or whatever. No, it's because of where you were putting your attention. Where your attitude was. Attitude of gratitude changes everything. Attitude of negativity changes everything. Attitude of positivity changes everything. We know that not everything is negative and not everything is positive. There's a balance there. It's understanding that balance, using that balance to your benefit, to the civilization's benefit, to the planet's benefit, to the galaxy, to the universes. It's knowing and being aware through the heart mind about all of this. And of course, it's one step at a time. We're going to, step into a muck hole on occasion. But then, you kind of look at it. You do look at it. How can I stop being this way or, thinking this way? And meditation. The reason most people don't meditate is because they think it's boring and they don't understand it and they think it's too complicated, too involved, and they become insecure about it. Or they're afraid they might find something about themselves that they don't care to find out about themselves. And then of course, that's the ego mind. See, we should find out everything we can about ourselves and love every aspect and part of ourselves. And then you're in a whole different arena. First off is knowing that you are a omnipotently powerful, supreme, immortal being that never dies. That's knowing that right to your core is imperative. Not ego mind, heart-minded. In other words, you're not compelled to verbalize it or sell it out there to other people. You're content with yourself of that discovery. Because the more you understand you, and the more you love you, and the deeper you go within to commune with the God that you are, how do you think that's going to affect everything around you and everyone? In a really good way. And isn't it interesting that you can see that and I've had people send letters, emails to me or letters, and they send letters and say that, isn't it interesting that the people with the money don't use it in good ways that we can see, and the people with no money do everything they can to help? You ever notice that? That's been a pretty constant for a very long time. Why is that? Have you ever asked yourself that question? It's part of understanding who and what we are in these bodies. But why is that? Why is it that the people that barely get by find a way, whether it be monetarily or physical assistance, whatever, to help others? And the ones that are swimming in wealth, financial security, all that, don't. Well, the interesting part is the people with the massive amount of wealth, not all of them are egotistical creeps. Some of them are decent. But what is it? What stops them? Fear. Fear of what? Fear of people finding out. And then everybody wants some. And so they don't. Now you can understand that because you're going to be in that. Until you're in it, you won't understand it. But when you're in it, you'll understand it. Someone finds out that you have somehow, whatever direction, whatever, that you have a lot of money all of a sudden. Right now, when money is front and center with society, with civilization, and that you have a lot of money, what happens? Well, there's all kinds of people come out trying to sell you things, wanting this, wanting that, doing this and doing that. Right? And then we use the word scam and, taken advantage of, and so we withdraw. Because we say, well, then it's not worth it. It's not worth to help other people and have other people find out about it, and then these other people want some. So this is one of the main reasons that they stay with each other and not branch out there and not help. Some of them will in certain ways if it will benefit them. And that's another thing. We don't do things so that we get something. And that's been this society on this planet, is that you're only going to do things if you're going to get a good return or you're going to get something out of it. It's stupid to do something where you're not going to get anything out of it. And that's what the society has sold to the civilization. Society is the human psyche. Pretty scary thing, huh? So when you realize that, then you understand why those ramifications are there. And then the ones that don't have the money really don't care because people will know they don't have the money, so therefore they don't have to worry about people wanting the money that they have. Now, the heart-mindedness of people is very powerful, because you could have someone that could have billions or trillions of dollars or millions that never had money ever, and then all of a sudden has it. Are they going to change? Probably not. Not really much at all. The thing that they would have to be careful of is giving and exposing themselves too much. And then that sounds strange, because we're not all on the same page as a species or civilization. We're not. We have different values and different directions and different perspectives all the time. And that's because that we're a mix mash. We've been, different, parents raised in certain ways, influences, certain things that have happened in our lifetimes along the way that have influenced us and set us up to believe and perceive certain things in certain ways. Right? So how do you get all that on one page? That's a biggie, isn't it? How do you get that all on one? How does everybody get on the same page, so to speak? Where they understand that, at least they understand that they're a God within the body, or pure consciousness. Now, when you say to some people, you're the God within the body, that frightens them, because they don't understand, and because of religion and how they've been taught and programmed and everything. Some would call it blasphemy, sacrilegious. And it's all how things are perceived. Right now, in this very moment, just in this country, you've got people watching things, listening to things, talking about things, writing about things, recording about things. And most of those things are what? They are not high frequency. So what does that do? Well, it gets people irritated. It gets them pretty much befuddled, because they don't know it, but they fall right into the crap that they already know is crap. And they get emotionalized with it, and they embrace it, but they believe that they aren't in it, but they really are. Because if they weren't in it, they wouldn't even be commenting on it, because it's just useless babble. It's useless energy. It's just a frequency that, why would we put our energies and frequencies there? We wouldn't. Knowingly. So we look at things from the perspectives of saying, well, this is how I view this. And someone else will chime in and say, I don't view it that way. Or I don't see it that way, like you see it. That's great. Variety, right? But there comes a time, and there will come a time, where this civilization is going to have to choose. Have to. Seriously. And you can not choose and still end up choosing. And what is that? You either are going to go into higher frequency based upon your own decision through your heart mind, or you're not. You're going to have to spend several more lifetimes trying to get it, figure it out. See, this is a culmination. This time and this very now is a culmination of tens of thousands of years of energies and frequencies moving into a higher direction. And it's culminating on this planet right now, where things are shifting. And see, when you see something shifting into higher frequency, it's a message to you. Now, maybe 20 other people don't see that, but you do. But you say, that's shifting into a higher frequency is based upon my decision to do so. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're totally conscious of that decision, but you have an inclination. And as we increase our vibrational frequencies by our own choosing, we will move into higher and higher forms of existence. Do you honestly believe that we're going to be in these bodies for the next billion years? No, we won't. And right in the now moment, what we're looking at is all the things that have been hidden from this civilization for tens of thousands of years, if not millions, if not billions. It's just like, people say, well, this planet's only 3-4 billion years old. In actuality, right now it's running at about 60 billion years. So everything, science is a spoofery. But when you're trained in science, okay, and you go through non-essential educational system, which basically teaches you nothing about who and what you are. Zero about who and what you are. Gives you limitations. Convinces you and programs you to say that not many things are possible. Some are, but there's a lot that aren't. When in actuality, everything's possible. Everything. Anything is possible. But it's how you perceive it. Well, this can't be done and that can't be done. Someone says to you, and I've used this analogy, I bet you can't pick up that truck. Well, obviously, the truck weighs, 5-6 tons? And here's you, and you're going to pick it up. But you realize that anything's possible, right? So they didn't say that they wanted you to pick it up, right? So you start thinking, you get creative, and you say, okay, that's fine. I will pick it up. But, physically I won't. I'll use this crane to pick it up. I'm operating the crane, so I'm involved with picking up this heavy weight. So everybody's like, well, their jaws dropped open. See, I lifted it. You asked me to lift it, and I lifted it. There's a lot of different avenues and ways that we can do things that we really don't put together to do them. It's like all of this stuff that's surfacing, it's like it's all coming to the surface and it's being culled out, it's being filtered out, it's being dragged out. And you can't get any more in your face than it is now, and it's going to get more in your face. What's up with that? Because of how we're thinking and believing. That's why. That's the only reason why. Whatever you focus on, you're going to form it. You're focusing on your energy, and you're focusing on energy. You're a highly conscious being, right? So you're focusing on something super sharp. And you're going to form it. That's it. Right? You don't have expectations or attachments. You don't know when. You really don't care when. You're just going to form it. So it forms. And it's when you get the majority of the people on this planet focused on the positivity and high energetic frequencies, love, for oneself to begin with, love, kindness, generosity, humbleness, gentleness, tranquility, peace, benevolence. When you vibrate that, because it's all coming from within you anywhere, it's always been there. But when that starts surfacing and you embrace that, it's going to affect everything around you. Now, more and more of us that do that, desiring to do that, not feeling forced or, well, I better do this or this is going to happen. You do it because you want to do it. Genuinely. Through your heart of hearts, you want to do it, and then it starts coming in. So you change your magnetic field. So you start attracting very positive, fulfilling, wonderful frequencies that start coming in. Not these, the kind that, the ego mind dictates to the heart mind, and you get that worriness and that little kind of a discomfort. And when we realize, see, a lot of people will say it, but to really embrace it and to really understand it, you're an omnipotently powerful, supreme being that never dies. What is there to worry about? Everything about worry is an ego mind, which is an illusion. And the only thing that is an illusion, the only thing that's real is the God that you are in that body. That's it. Everything else is created by us as a collective, and we experience it throughout the galaxies, throughout the universes, and beyond. This is what we do. So we focus and we create, and we experience. Focus, create, experience. Now, the dangerous part of that is that the majority of people on this planet, they focus and they create and then they experience, but they don't know any of that. They don't. They think it's an outside force that's doing it to them rather than them doing it for themselves. The discovery of that is off the charts, because once you start to identify these things, then you know that there's avenues that you can shift, right? You can circumvent a lot of negative low vowel frequencies and increase your frequencies by just being happy for no particular reason, or being deeply grateful for the very moment you're in for no particular reason. It's like giving somebody a gift, but there's no special occasion. But in reality, the special occasion is that each of us are alive in these bodies. And as long as these bodies are alive, we have a plethora of things to experience and enjoy. It's absolutely phenomenal. It's just that there's no measuring it because it's off the charts. You are the one that can shift it all. It doesn't matter where you're at in this life. It really doesn't. That's the dangerous part, because people they create so much to weigh them down, and they're not doing it on purpose. They just don't know. So they're weighing themselves down. They get themselves so weighted down that they feel like there's no way out. And the whole time, all they had to do was embrace themselves, love themselves, shift their direction to the heart mind and not the ego mind. Voila. They're no longer in that deep depression that life sucks, this planet sucks, and everybody else sucks, so why live? And there's people right now, I hear this a lot, coming from people. Why? You're doing it to yourself. Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you, the time that we have in these bodies, which we don't know how long that is, none of us do, but the time we're in them, why don't we enjoy them? Rather than you just look around you as a watcher, you're seeing all this stuff, you're not judging, you're going, wow. What an education. It's ongoing. You start to see how things, all of us want to be special. We want to be loved, hugged, held, and feel good about ourselves. What's wrong with that? Nothing. But you start by doing it with yourself is the key. Do it for you. You've got to do it for you before you can do it for anybody else. You're not going to do it for anybody else. Well, we do, but it's quite volatile. But when we do that for ourselves and we literally burn through all the things that we've created, the fears and the worries about who and what we are, and the things we've done in life and all of that stuck inside us, and we just let it go. This, boom, gone. Give it to the universe. The universe is yours. And you say 1,000 times a day, if it keeps coming back, say, I give this to the universe. Surrender. Let it go. And start embracing yourself and loving yourself deeply, eternally. Watch what happens. It's miraculous. But be careful, because when you get way low, we've all been there in certain situations and circumstances, if not at this lifetime, but others, or all of them. We got to be careful. Why would we go way down deep? We've been there before. Like I said, it isn't our first trip. So we say to ourselves, okay, look, I've experienced in this, and you are, all of us are, deeply so, in the negative vernacular, the negative response, the negative direction. Okay? Knowing that, we've got one heck of an education, don't we? So then we say, haven't spent too much time over here in the positive arena. I believe I want to do that more. I want to focus more on positive. And again, positive for who? You. When you become positive with yourself, what do you think that's going to do for people around you? Oh, a whole heck of a lot. Whenever you're around somebody who's got a good, they just, they have an energy and they're happy and they're uplifting and it just feels good to be around them. You ever been in that situation? You don't just say, oh, it feels really good to be around you, but some people will. But the majority will just say, I want to hang with this person, this being. And this is how we affect each other. This is how we shift the planet. This is how we shift the energies and frequencies. It has nothing to do, really, truly, with anything outside of us. It has everything to do with everything inside of us and what we choose to do with everything inside of us. I'll join you in a meditation. I'll return to close the zone. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose, and an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still and focused on your breath rising and falling. Enlightenment comes like a bolt of lightning, yet can trickle throughout your life like a slow, soothing stream. Investigate today how you casually react to people. Notice if you generally have a protective hardness, lightness, resistance, friendliness, defensiveness, pushiness, or perhaps a needy energy. Watch what typical reaction you have with others and don't change it. Let it change into something else on its own. Be patient with it. Ask it questions that might unravel its past. Do not be attached to what comes about. Simply drop into it profoundly. Choose to be in the your heart of your programming deeply and let the self-realization come out of it. This is the only thing that will stop the habits and is how you will evolve quickly in your consciousness. Take this with you for the rest of the day into the evening and night and the following morning, when we will return here Wednesday, July 24, 2024, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call, and a little after 9:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our Time for Change call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest. Eternal gratitude at all times, no matter what's going on around you or within you. Open your heart. Let the magic flow in.